Will Tracey, the announcement that the MUA has made just over an hour ago saying that you're going to suspend taking industrial action for 30 days. What's the thinking behind that?
Look, John, this week we've had a number of productive discussions in several formal forums, and we've made some pretty positive progress in relation to those discussions in the last 2 days. So we've had discussions in both Sydney, back in Perth today, and on the basis of talks we've had with TK and with BHP as well, we've been able to put on hold so that there's an environment in which we can continue those discussions. I think the nature of what's gone on in recent days, pretty positive from our side of the fence. It's put us in a position where we're able to suspend action in the hope of getting an outcome, and that's always been the main aim here, is to get an outcome that satisfies both sides of the fence.
Well, I just wonder how productive those negotiations have been in the last couple of days, because BHP issued a statement yesterday expressing growing concern about the industrial action. That was from their iron ore president, Jimmy Wilson, and that's only yesterday that he was voicing concern about $100 million a day in lost export revenue. So what's happened in the past day, the past 24 hours, to get the MUA to change tack on this?
Look, we've met with both BHP and representatives of TK today. And again, the decision was made this afternoon, as you've indicated, on the basis of those discussions. So, look, I think we've got an agreed position with both those parties. And as I said, BHP was party to the discussions. And on the basis of the progress we've been able to make there, we've been able to make the announcement we've made this afternoon.
Will Tracey, can I just take you to the claim which you are pursuing on behalf of your members? 40% pay rise over the next 4 years. That's how it's been characterised, and a reduction in working days for your members. So instead of working 6 months a year, they would work 4.5 months a year, and they're already earning $140,000 a year. Can you tell me how you justify a claim like that?
Look, I think in terms of the 40% a year claim, and then on top of that, I think it's possibly works out at 6 weeks reduction in working hours is part of the problem we've got with the discussions at the moment. You won't be hearing those figures from TK, who are party to the negotiations, simply because those figures are wildly inaccurate. There just is not a claim for 40% in wage increases on the table. There is not a claim for a decrease in working hours of an extra 6 weeks. And this is part of the problem we've got, John.
So what is the claim?
Part of the problem we've got is that we're at a pretty critical juncture in relation to these negotiations. They are very complex because cutting across the increases that we're asking for is requested by the company for productivity offsets. Now, those offsets are worth anywhere between 3 and 6% as against the wage claim. The other point I want to make is that in relation to the claim for annual leave we've got, we're in a process of agreeing to pay for that out of any wage increases that we're asking for. And this is part of the problem that we've got, is you get comments from AMAR and these other sorts of organisations that are so wildly inaccurate and don't reflect the position of either party that it makes it hard. And while it might be just white noise, the problem is it's getting a lot of airplay, and it's just simply inaccurate, John. And it's a concern that both parties have got, and it's one of the reasons why we've been, both parties, both TK and ourselves, been reluctant to make any statements to the press, because we're trying to get an outcome here without need to resort to industrial action.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, Will Tracey, and you're in a position to know. You're the Assistant Branch Secretary here of the MUA in WA. You're concerned that people are not characterising properly what you are looking for on behalf of your members. Here's your chance. You're on ABC Radio live. Tell us what exactly you are pursuing on behalf of your members.
Okay. Well, I'll go to the pay increases. The position on the table in respect to pay increases at the current time is no pay increase in the first year. And the current offer we put on the table is for a 4% increase in the second year, 4% increase in the third year, and a 4% increase in the fourth year. Now, this idea that we're asking for an uplift in wages of 40% is so far off the mark, and it's part of the concern that we've got. What we've asked for in respect of the leave is for 4 weeks annual leave a year, and it's on the basis of the peculiarities around the roster that these guys work, which is a 4 week on, 4 week off roster. But it's a roster where the total hours worked each year is in fact more than people who do a 40-hour week over 52 weeks work. It's a roster that's particular to the Pilbara in its nature. That is, it's an even time roster, and that is a pretty average off roster work in the resource industry. But if you go to a town like Port Hedland in terms of workers who do a 4-on-4 off roster or an even time roster of that nature, there is an annual leave component that other employees get. We're simply asking for that. But what we have agreed to do is to pay for that ourselves in relation to offsets against the wages and handing back productivity offsets so that it's paid for in terms of the concessions that we make.
Okay, well, Tracey, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us and for putting your point of view in relation to this. Clearly, a lot of eyes are focusing on the dispute, and so many people are keen to see it resolved as quickly as possible. Thanks for your time today.
Okay, thanks, John.
Will Tracey there, WA Branch Assistant Secretary of the MUA.